Sign up for my free daily newsletter, The Current, at getkim.com. All right, small business owners, I want you to really listen to this one. You know that bright green Hello toothpaste? Well, a gentleman by the name of Craig Dubitsky actually built that, and he sold it to Colgate. And those little EOS lip balm spheres that took over every checkout line in America, guess what? That was also Craig. Now he's teamed up with Robert Downey Jr. to launch Happy. It's a coffee brand partnering with NAMI to support mental health. Now, let me tell you something. Craig knows how to build brands that people love. And he'll be the first to tell you that passion only gets you so far, because at some point, you really need systems that work. You really need to see your numbers, your inventory, the whole operation in one place, not buried in a bunch of spreadsheets. And that's why Craig built Happy on NetSuite from day one. You see, it handles financials, inventory, supply chain, so he can focus on creating companies. So, Craig, thank you so much for being here. Now, you've done this multiple times now. What do you see in an idea that tells you that it's worth building a whole entire company around?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm really, really excited to be here. How do I find something? People ask me that a lot. Honestly, I keep my eyes open all the time, and I just pay attention, and usually something jumps out at me, and usually there's something that bothers me. There's something that gets me a little uptight in a positive way. And I go, well, why do they do it that way? What if we did it this other way? And I think it's a combination of eyes wide open and constant curiosity, and always asking, well, why is it like that? Why can't it be this other way? And as soon as I sort of keep that aperture open, a flood of ideas seem to come my way.
I see, but it's interesting to me. It's like you picked lip balm. Okay, pretty common product. Toothpaste. Okay, definitely common product. Okay. Coffee. I mean, come on, Craig. I mean, there's a lot of competition in all those spaces.
Yes, I'm attracted to commodity categories. I don't think there's such a thing as a boring category. I like the everyday, and I think the magic comes in figuring out how you can elevate the everyday, whether that's through design, storytelling, people. I'm allergic to the word consumer. We're people. We happen to consume things. And I feel like the narrative that people tell, they write their narrative through their stuff. And I feel like the bar is pretty low. So if we can help by providing a better set of inputs, whether that's around aesthetic, ethics, design, ingredients, that's helping people write their stories in a little bit more compelling way. That's what gets me excited. And that's the kind of stuff, I think, that turns commodities into desirables, taking the everyday and making it a little bit better, a little bit more beautiful, a little bit more affordable, whatever it might be. There are a lot of ways to define better, but beautiful, more affordable, easier to locate, something that just, as trite as this may sound, sparks a little bit of joy, because I feel like the bar is very low.
What's interesting is that you use the word consumer. You never want to use consumer. I have an edict here in the studios that when we're talking about tech products, we never use the word user. Okay. It's just like, okay, they're not users. I mean, okay, yeah, sometimes we can feel like the tech companies are addicting us and they're drug pushers, but we are not users. We are actually people that are utilizing and benefiting and getting frustrated by all the technology.
Yes. We're and by the way, in the world of a term, again, that I'm a little loath to use, consumer packaged goods, people talk about who their target is. And, targets get shot at. I don't want to be a target. So the language needs to evolve, certainly. And I think what makes it fun as an entrepreneur is to figure out how to change up the tune a little bit. Again, I go back to the fact that the bar is pretty low. A lot of things have stayed the same for a very long time. And a little bit of incremental magic, a little bit of thoughtfulness can go a very, very long way.
Okay, so then what is that magic? What's that little potion that you're bringing to coffee with Happy? I mean, how is it going to be different and as you move forward?
Sure, it's a great question. There are a few things that make it a little bit different. Let's start with the obvious, which is it's called Happy. We trademarked the word happy. It's an R with a circle, a registered trademark.
I love that.
That alone does quite a bit of heavy lifting in a category that's crowded. It's just, I'll use an example without pointing to other products. Engelbert Humperdinck. You'll never forget that name. I don't believe that was his real name. So names and naming are very, very important. I've been involved with a company for a long time that names things. And they named, BlackBerry was going to be called Mega Mail.
Was it? I didn't know that.
Mega Mail. Mega Mail. I mean, how, I don't want to sound too dismissive, but it's a little too, it's overly descriptive to the point of being boring and forgettable.
I mean, could you imagine all the lawyers carrying around their Mega Mail?
just not that sexy, right? So the bar again is low. So what you call something already can help act as a lightning rod in terms of garnering some immediate attention. So for one thing, it's called happy, but I like to say we're not in the coffee business, we're in the happy business, and that's not just a euphemism. Going back to what I shared before, this notion of people and people writing their narrative through their stuff. You mentioned users. We don't want users. We want joiners. We want to create something that people don't just transact with and buy. We want to create something that they join. And you do that by creating a brand that stands for things. And a lot of brands talk about mission and purpose, very good things. I don't want to, again, sound dismissive. We have this very special relationship. In fact, we have more than one special relationship in the mental health area. And we have this relationship with NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, which is the largest grassroots mental health organization in the United States. They helped develop 988, which is the 911 for mental health.
It's fabulous.
And without getting too morose, the stats are incredible. When I was a younger person, the number one killer of teens were car accidents, followed by leukemia, childhood leukemia. And obviously, we've made great strides against childhood cancers, with certainly room to go, but great strides. So now, fast forward to where we are today, the number one killer of teens is handguns, and number two is suicide, and often one and two, unfortunately, go together. The suicide rate has gone up 30% in the past 2 decades. 80% of those who take their lives are men. And depending on which study you look at, between 1 in 4 and 1 in 5 people in this country have some form of diagnosable mental illness. And if we can do anything to help remove the tiniest bit of stigma around mental illness, the word illness, I think, is not even really fair. It's around mental well-being. And as a company, what we've talked about internally is this isn't about our purpose or our mission. This is about responsibility, because this impacts so many people. And I can tell you, hand on heart, every day since starting Happy, I get a little choked up, but every single day I hear a story from someone who I've either just met or someone who I thought I knew really well for a long period of time, that tells me about the impact mental health, or someone in their immediate sphere, the impact that mental health has had on them. And someone on our team told me, who I've known for a very long time, that they lost someone to suicide as a teenager. And I've known this person for a very long time. I didn't know that. And I was sharing that story with a friend of mine because I was so moved and really shook up. And he told me a story about having to take his daughter out of college earlier that week because there was, an incident, not with his daughter, but with teammates of the daughter. And literally every day since then, I hear a story. And that's why I've said, mission and purpose is great, but this impacts everybody. So what can we do that's a little bit different? The coffee, I can talk to you about coffee, not only because I'm well caffeinated, but for hours on end. Our coffee is incredible. We source from 2 to 5 acre farms. We're very, very particular. 40% of our farms are managed by women. We've set up mental health programs in Colombia for our women growers. We're very, very focused on making sure the coffee is exceptional, and it is, because it has to be. But the other stuff that was important to us was, how can we also reimagine the relationship between entrepreneurship and philanthropy? And what we decided to do with NAMI wasn't just to do something that we felt might be perceived as performative, like, oh, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, let's do a thing. That just seems like, if you're LGBTQ plus, every day is Pride Day for you. The idea that it's Pride Week or Pride Month doesn't seem to really feel genuine, or not as genuine as it should. So we decided to partner with NAMI in an interesting way, and we literally gave NAMI a piece of our company. So NAMI's on our cap table. They have an ownership piece in the company, as opposed to, oh, we get a portion of profits. I know too many companies that don't book profits, or they say, oh, we're building company culture. We took everybody away on a cruise. We have Omakase Tuesday.
That's really interesting, Craig. So they are actually a cap partner?
Yes, they're on our cap table. We gave them a piece of the company.
Wow.
Yeah, we think it's important, and it's nothing that, it's like you wouldn't read the packaging and see that, but what you would see on all of our packaging is a QR code, a toll-free number that links you directly to NAMI. There's help, and where there's help, there's hope, and this is professional, real help, and that's what we think is what's going to make people happy is knowing that there's help and there's hope, and
that's fascinating. I mean, that is really impactful. Because, when you were talking about how you didn't know that this had happened, and then I started thinking about, how many people that I know, in particular, I mean, right now, a family member who is struggling and has mentioned that suicide word. And then somebody else in the family asked me and said, do you think he's going to do it? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not trained. I can tell you a lot about broadcasting. I can tell you a lot about radio and newsletters and internet. But when it comes to that, you feel helpless. I mean, you do.
It doesn't play favorites, mental health. It doesn't, it doesn't matter how many commas you do or do not have in your bank account. It doesn't matter what your native tongue is. It doesn't matter if you are from this country or elsewhere. This is a global phenomenon, a commonality across states, borders, economic strata, you name it. It doesn't play favorites. So living in a world that has basically, I think, of late, put some people in a sad state, we have a responsibility to do what we can. And a great cup of coffee can do a lot, but can only do so much. So,
exactly.
Being able to talk realistically and practically and empathically about the importance of mental health, we think it's a bigger opportunity, not a challenge. Opportunity to help more people. That's all.
So let me ask you a question, totally off topic. Between us.
Oh, I was the men's freestyle off-topic, champion many years in a row. So
I'm sure I have like this undiagnosed case of ADHD like 8 times over. So sometimes you have to bring me back. But do you think that tech has exasperated this problem?
Well, I love technology. I've always been, and I don't mean the gadget side of it, I've always liked gadgets. I love that. But I love the empowerment that comes from being able to do the things we want to do in ways we want to do them at the times that we need or want to do them. To say I appreciate the access to information all the time, it's incredible. But living today, I think, with this idea that output is infinite and inputs seem to be infinite, has put, I think, a lot of pressure on folks. And I think, if anything, the magic of AI and the magic of the technology to engage with AI and answer questions and come up with new questions to ask and be answered is really fascinating. But I think that also has put a lot more emphasis on the weight of authenticity.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I think that it's going to be a really interesting combination of how you take access and technology and access to any and every bit of information that seems to be at our fingertips, and marrying that to a realistic way of putting that information into practice. and doing that in a way that I think, again, has a lot more heart attached to it. So
Yeah.
the magic to me is going to come from this combination of technology and humanity, and how we can apply the technology to help, the largest number of people. And that's a tricky dance. It's a tricky dance, and doing it authentically, not just for profit. We're in business, yes. We like profits.
Yeah,
but,
we do. We have bills to pay, and we've got everything else.
It's important. Yeah, and mouths to feed. So balancing that with humanity, technology plus humanity is going to equal magic. If it's all tech and there's no humanity to it,
it doesn't work.
No, it's not good enough.
All right, let's switch gears one more time, and let's talk about building a business, because I've done it. Obviously, you've done it many times over. Not easy. I wake up routinely at 4 a.m. and I don't know what's happening in my brain, but I wake up at 4 a.m. and I have solved at least 3 problems and came up with one great idea. Well, sometimes they're not great ideas. Sometimes they're really crappy ideas. But the ideas still come. And it's a passion that comes from the inside. And as I've mentored now, my son, and he's building a supplement company, is that, you can never do this for the money. You have to do it because you believe in it, because it's not easy. It would be a lot easier to go to work for somebody else, where you wouldn't have the hassle, but maybe you wouldn't have that fulfillment on the inside. But as you are building out these various companies, and you start looking at all the different data points that come in, CRM, HR, inventory, supply, demand. I mean, the list goes on and on. At what point do you say to yourself, or is it from the beginning, where I need to start making decisions based on data and not on my gut? Because I think, like so many entrepreneurs, they say, I feel like this is going to be a winner when the numbers say otherwise.
Yeah. And for one thing, I hope you get a little more sleep, but don't stop the ideation. What I would, I think, add to your it's a sort of a comment / question, is, for me, as an entrepreneur, something triggers and I'm motivated by the idea of creating something. For me, it's never been about the money, and that sounds, it can come across to someone listening as trite because, I've done this a few times. It's really true. It has to come from a very pure place, because this stuff really is hard. And if you don't have an immense amount of passion, vision, passion, drive, the odds are already stacked against you.
That's true.
So you really need an immense amount of grit. And our job as founders, as entrepreneurs, is to try to see the invisible and make it real. And the way you do that is by bringing in immensely talented people to help you, and tools, because it takes people and tools, and the people who know how to use those tools, to help you take this idea, this vision, and make it real. And by real, I mean not just physically real. Yes, that's important to be able to produce something, but to produce something that can be, margin accretive, profitable, run like a real business. And basically, it takes left brain and right brain. There's no, I'm half a brain, I'm only creative, and I have an idea. That's not enough. And it's not enough to be purely analytical, because if you're so analytical, you'll talk yourself out of something. I cannot tell you how many people told me over the years. I have history with a brand called Method. It's a household cleaning products brand, now a personal care brand as well. And in the beginning, when I talked to people about this as a potential investment, and their eyes would roll back in their head and they'd laugh at me. They'd say, cleaning products? No, who cares about cleaning products? And my thesis is people care about everything, right?
Yeah, they do.
There's no such thing as a boring category. There's just boring executions. Everyone told me no. You're going to you're making a chapstick? I'm like, no, chapstick is a brand and it exists already. We're going to make something different in lip care category. And once again, everyone said, that's ridiculous. The world doesn't need another chapstick. And I was like, well, you're missing it. It's not just
chapstick.
Another chapstick. And then, I started Hello, an oral care company, and people said, you're not a dentist. How could you start that? I mean, you're out of your gourd. You can't do it. There's this brand, this brand, this brand, and there's
He's
clinical
losing
information, and
it.
you just can't do it. And I love when people tell me no, because basically they're much smarter than me, and they just told me they're not going to compete. They just basically cleared the way.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
So yeah, and the other thing is people also bring up a lot. They're like, well, you did this, and your company was your company was acquired. You had an exit, and I'm like, no, we didn't have an exit. We had an entrance. It's a subtle but very important point. If you're building something, this gets really to your question about why you do these things as an entrepreneur. First of all, if you build something and it's all about the exit, I'm an investor too, and I meet with a lot of entrepreneurs, and they tell me all about their exit strategy. And for me, that's kind of my exit strategy. I'm like, it's not about the exit, it's about the entrance. How can you build something that people can fall in love with? And if you do it in a way that's really vital and really lands and has cultural resonance, emotional resonance, you will create a successful business, because the math part is hard, but it's not the hardest part. The magic is the hard part. If you get the magic right, the math takes care of itself. Can I build a product that has margin in it? Can I sell it in a way that's going to get on shelf? Can I price it in a way where more people can afford to buy it? Those are critical things. But without getting the magic right as to why anyone would care about this thing in the first place, right?
Yeah.
All the numbers in the world adding up aren't going to do you right. So you have to fall in love with the problem. You have to be in love with not the opportunity. Ooh, I have this idea and it might, lead to some financial gain. You have to fall in love with the problem. And when you fall in love with the problem and you use creativity and passion and really brilliant people and great tools, and I'm really excited because I do want to talk about NetSuite. By the way, I'm not like paid to do this. I love NetSuite. I said to NetSuite, I love NetSuite. You guys saved our bacon in my last company, and I'm using you again in this company. And if you guys ever need somebody to wax poetic and rhapsodic about the magic of NetSuite, I am your poster child, man.
Well, let's talk about that. We have to explain what NetSuite is. How would you explain to the average business owner who's been using QuickBooks or spreadsheets or something like that?
Yeah, abacus.
Abacus.
Pen and paper.
How would you describe moving from that environment to a NetSuite environment?
So first of all, kudos to anybody who starts a business, because if anyone appreciates how difficult it is, I am right there. I know how hard this stuff is. So you have this idea, whatever it might be. You're building a widget. It could be, doesn't matter, software, a service company, it doesn't matter. You're going to have some type of general ledger. You're going to figure out, what things cost you, what you're able to sell them for, whether that's time you're selling. It doesn't matter what the thing is. Keeping track of all of the ins and outs is very, very tricky. It's very time consuming. And if you spend too much time on the nuts and bolts part of your business, as important as it is, again, I'm not discounting how important the fundamentals are, but you could get lost in the minutia and actually miss out on the reality around you that could really be driving your business, whether that's how to recruit and retain people, whether that's how to go make more sales, whether that's how to make sure your brand, if it's a brand, is firing on all the cylinders it needs to again, generate this level of awareness and cultural relevance you're looking for that ultimately will drive more revenue. You will miss all of that because you will be lost in the weeds. So we have been very fortunate to use NetSuite from day zero with Happy, after having switched to it, starting with something else and switching to it with
really?
Hello, the last company I started. And having had that experience and seeing the difference and being able to start fresh with a whole new company, from day zero, we were like, we're building this thing on NetSuite because it helps us keep track of everything from inventory, what SKUs, for those of you who don't know what a SKU is, like your individual product you may have. We have a range of products, and each sort of different it's a SKU. It lets us know what's performing, what isn't performing, what everything costs us, what inventory that makes up that final product, what our costs look like on that, what is our inventory on that, what is the flow not only of cash in and out of the business, but the cash we need on hand to buy more inventory of individual componentry. It literally helps us keep our fingers on the pulse of everything and give you almost like a psychic window into what's happening with the underpinnings of the business, the actual mathematics surrounding running a profitable business, or what you hope will be a profitable business.
But you just can't get, you can't get that info by looking at a balance sheet. I mean, it's just not there.
It's just not enough.
Right.
It's not enough. That's a snapshot of your business in a particular moment. But to be able to see it in real time, all the time, like at your fingertips, is amazing. So you have this incredible dashboard that lets you manage all the individual aspects of, like running every numerical calculation involved with your business.
See, I imagine years ago those would be full departments where it would be.
You have teams of people.
Yes, where the teams of people would be doing all this data collection and analysis, and then feeding it up, and then you asking a question, and then going back and then redoing all the numbers and coming back again.
Yes. And things could change in that window when you might have said, oh, I'm anticipating this particular thing. I have a question, a query I want to put to the team. And then the world moves. So to be able to do this kind of insight work in real time around your numbers is very important as someone who's trying to manage a growing business, because the insights you get, the intel you get from analyzing how your business is functioning, not just performing, but functioning, is important. So I'd be remiss if I didn't share things that I think we've experienced will be helpful for other people. So being able to look at the data and see where growth is occurring and the rate of that growth enables us to lean in more to take advantage of the things that are working better. So for instance, we're in the coffee business, but like I said, we're in the happy business. And as much as we're all in on dry coffee and the role it plays in whole bean coffee, and again, I could talk your ear off about coffee, we made an interesting move into the ready to drink space, right? Okay. Canned coffees. And part of the rationale for that was looking at the data in the marketplace, yes, but like jumping in and then looking at our own internal data and our sales data and looking at our costs and looking at where the market was going. And I guess this is a little bit, and I'm not a hockey player, but the famous Wayne Gretzky quote, you want to go where the puck is going to be. And having ready access to this data enables you to see a little bit better where the puck is going to be and make the right move. So you can say, this is an area where we need to spend a little more time. Our business is developing more quickly here. Our reorders are coming in at a different rate than other parts of the business. So it's incredibly helpful. It gives you a sense of clairvoyance, if you will. It's really important.
The world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use, helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize, so you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
So you mentioned that NetSuite saved your bacon. What happened there?
Well, our last business, Hello, which was lucky enough, it's an oral care company. If you haven't seen it or tried it, it's really an amazing product. I have one at my desk all the time. Hello grew and became the fastest growing oral care brand in North America. And ultimately we were acquired by Colgate, which is an unbelievable company. Once again, I'm not obligated to say these nice things. I really miss a lot of people in Colgate. What an incredible company. What an incredible experience to become part of Colgate. Truly, unbelievable place. Unbelievable people. So before we got to this magical moment where we were acquired and had not an exit, but an entrance, to be able to join the largest oral care company in the world is really it's an entrance as much as it is anything else. We were growing so fast that we literally broke another well-known financial platform software. Okay. We literally broke it. And we were at the highest level of internal IT support within that company because they'd never seen anything like this. And again, it was a combination of retail, fulfillment, supply chain management, e-commerce growth, like you name it. We were literally every single cylinder that your business could be hammering on. We had like downshifted and floored it. It was just incredible growth. And we broke it. Now, when you break your entire enterprise accounting doesn't even cover it, right? Accounting, supply chain, process management platform, your business, it's really rough. So we made the switch to NetSuite, and we literally migrated our entire business off of one platform onto NetSuite, which was very scary. And we thought this is going to be this impossible task. Herculean doesn't even cover it as a description. And we did it over a weekend, and it was flawless and seamless, and we never looked back. We never had a hiccup or an issue. And that's why I'm such a staunch believer, because our business was growing so fast. And when you're moving at hyper speed and like the wheels fall off, that is not good. So when I say they saved our bacon, we were able to re-platform our entire business over a weekend and once again take control of our finances, supply chain, like everything that made the business run.
And that's a fabulous.
How important it is.
I mean, that must have been such a relief for you. I mean, I was whoa.
Understatement. Yeah. Understatement.
So now, you're more. I'm taking you're more of a creative person. I mean, you like people, you like design, you like branding. Now, usually, math, data, systems is like, oh no, I don't want anything to do with anything like that. But how does NetSuite help you maybe be more creative and to have more of that human side of your business?
Yeah, it's a great question. As someone who is a little bit more maybe leaning into the creative side, I mean, I'm surrounded by strange musical instruments and and interesting art books and pieces of art and pieces of strange sculpture. Like I love design. High cheekbones work in every culture, right? You don't have to really get into the magic of the Vitruvian Man and the magic of symmetry. Like I love all that stuff, but I think there's magic in a really tight operating model. And in a prior business life, I was a trader and a derivatives trader, and I was eyeballs deep in spreadsheets and tweaking a Black-Scholes model to work on the London Metals Exchange. Like I'm not scared of numbers. Music is math, and math is music, and there's 12 notes in a musical scale and Western classical notation, and it's what you do with them, right? Guitar, 22 frets, 6 strings, but everybody can play it a little bit differently. There's magic even in what seems like the most sort of rudimentary mathematics. So I think having the right tool helps you be that much more creative, not only with your financial side of the business, but freeing that part up because it's in good, steady state where you can access the information and use it to your advantage. That allows you to be even more creative in your business. So creativity shouldn't just be relegated to like form, function, color, design, copy. Sure, that's great. Most people think that's the creative side, but you can be wildly creative on the finance side. And sometimes you have to be even more creative on the finance side to afford to be able to do the other parts of the business that normally seem to be the most creative. It's all creative. Everything sparks with an idea or being able to ask the question, like, well, what if we did this? And what's great about the right financial platform is that it allows you to safely ask those questions and make all sorts of assumptions and see what would happen if your business were to react a certain way to certain inputs. And you're able to do that in a safe space with the right platform. And that enables you to make other good decisions.
And then if you have all that data and you have the creativity, and then it allows you to make decisions. Has it ever come to a point where you've been using NetSuite and you had a thought like you were going to go this direction, and then suddenly you have all this real-time data, and then you pivot? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, we'll we will, I'm tripping over my own words. Yes, because I'm so excited. Yes, we will model things out. And we'll say, well, let's ask some hypotheticals and see what would that do to the business. Like how would that hinder our cash flow, help our cash flow? What additional cash would we need to pursue that type of an idea? So again, it's a tool. You have to think of it as a tool, and you can be as creative with that tool as you want to be. You could paint your house with a toothpick if you want, or you could do something much more elaborate and create a piece of art with a toothpick, or get something stuck between your teeth out with a toothpick. But it's just what you do with it, and it's the most capable platform we've seen. It's great. Again, I'm not a spokesperson.
I know, and that's why I love talking to you, because this is a real life example of somebody who's using the product and is benefiting from the product. And sometimes I'll hear from people and they'll say, well, Kim, I want to try NetSuite, but I don't know if I want to spend that kind of money.
Oh, I would tell you, I don't count anyone else's money, but it's been a great investment for us. And with my last company, Hello, we had this one stretch where we went from 18,000 doors of retail distribution to 45 and then 55,000 doors really quickly. Yeah, which is a lot. There's a lot to manage there, right? In terms of cash, yes, componentry, individual things that help you make your product, getting your product from point A to point B, everything. With Happy, Robert Downey Jr. is my co-founder and partner. We had this idea. We went from idea to finished product to distribution in over 16,000 doors in just a few months, managing a whole bunch of different products and SKUs. Everywhere from Walmart, Target, CVS, Kroger, Albertsons, HEB, Meijer. I mean, I don't mean to leave anybody out. If I did, it's not intentional. But yeah, and to be able to do that with a small team, something else I'll share. Happy, we're 12 people.
Wow, really? That's only you only have 12 people.
Yeah, and a few dogs, because when you have the right tools, when you have the right people, and you have the right tools, you can unleash so much so quickly.
Wait, Craig, that's impressive. I thought for sure you had at least 100 folks that were running this, at least.
No, when you have the right people, and again, you give them, like my job is to find the coolest, smartest, best people and get out of their way so they can do their coolest, smartest, best work. That's really, I think, the biggest part of the role. And if we empower them with the right tools, and we all have this shared vision, you're off to the races. There's just nothing you can't do.
Well, obviously, NetSuite's the right tool for you. I mean, that's for sure. You mentioned Robert Downey Jr. How did he get involved in all this?
I'm often mistaken for him, as you could tell.
You know what? I would have guessed. Until I saw your name underneath, I was like, oh my gosh, he's on with us.
Yeah, like Downey's on with us. It's hard to believe, but the world is magical and amazing. And I am the luckiest person you just met. Full stop. I really am. And my wife isn't here, because if she were here, you'd say, well, yes, you're obviously the luckiest person ever. But I totally married up, and that's made all the difference. Been married for a long time to the same fabulous person. But lo and behold, the world being magical and small, who would ever think that I would know someone well who was good friends with Robert Downey Jr.? It just kind of, the world is small. So this person said, hey, I have this friend, they're really interested in starting a coffee company. Would you be willing to speak with them? And I was like, well, I'm kind of starting a coffee company, which they knew. And but I love to always say yes. More good stuff has happened to me from saying yes than saying no. So I didn't have any real agenda, and I'm like, sure. And by the way, I didn't know it was Downey. I just knew it was like a friend who wants to start a coffee company. It turns out it's Downey. And we have this really amazing phone call, and it went for over 3.5 hours.
Wow.
And which I don't think either one of us was expecting. And I said to him, no disrespect, but I didn't Google you, Wiki you, TMZ you. I don't know anything about you as a person, but we were introduced by someone who knew us both as people, not as Robert, a movie star. Robert as a person who happened to be an incredible and wildly talented actor. and he's brilliant, funny as all get out. And we just had this really natural rapport. Turns out we're about the same age. We knew some people in common that neither one of us knew we knew in common. We started singing deep cut Elvis Costello tracks to one another. He knew what kind of weird guitar this was, and it just kind of went and never stopped. And I heard about the role coffee plays in his life. He's really, really into coffee. Understatement. Like, you literally can give Robert 5 coffees that are grown at different elevations, and he can drink them and like rank order them in terms of elevation. He's really into
He's like a coffee sommelier.
Exactly. He's a coffee savant for sure. So yeah, he's really, really obsessed with coffee. So I heard a lot about coffee in his life. I heard a lot about how important it is to him. And we were talking one day, and he said, not everybody's happy. What can we do about that? And my bride was sitting behind me, and she's a PhD in clinical psychology. And I said, honey, who's doing anything great at scale around mental health? And she said, oh, NAMI. What's NAMI? So that's how I got introduced to NAMI, because she mentioned it. I used, technology to help me track down NAMI, connected with some folks there, went to their headquarters outside of Washington, D.C. in Arlington, the most incredible people. And they shared, again, like what they were up to and the amazing work that they were doing. And we asked them, we said, well, what keeps you up at night? What's like, how could we possibly be helpful? And they said, the number one thing they hear from people is, if only I'd known about you sooner. And we said, well, that's an awareness issue. We could help with that. They said, what do you mean? And we said, well, we're going to have this amazing suite of products, and we're going to have them in some of the biggest locations, retail locations and online that exist. And what if we put information about you on everything? And they're like, you would do that? And we said, let's think about it. Yes. So here it is on every single product. There, it's everywhere. Toll-free numbers, QR codes. And it just helped further our relationship with NAMI, yes, but also Robert and I of like mind, and this idea that we can create a coffee company, or we create something even bigger than a coffee company.
Yeah, see, that's the beautiful thing. I mean, it's you have a product, you have a passion, but you're helping people, and it's something like, it's not just a cup of coffee. It's so much more than that.
Yeah, and for most people, coffee it represents a lot of different things. It's a break in their day. There's craft behind coffee. Mm-hmm. There's this notion of fuel behind coffee that there's people said, oh, that's bad coffee. It's like, there's no bad coffee. If it's, what went into someone growing that bean, coffee is a plant. It grows on incredibly steep angles along the equatorial band. It's a very cool commodity. And commodity sometimes sounds like a very bad word, right? It's like, because commodity, it means like it's all the same, It's common. It's not common. And it's really difficult to grow, and it's magical, how it's extracted and created and roasted and picked. And we're very particular about the ins and outs of the coffee. But there's so much about the role coffee plays in most people's day, right? It's a break, it's a start, it's a contemplative moment. It's a grounding moment.
For sure.
It's a kickstart moment. It serves a lot of different functions. Let's meet for coffee. It's about talking and meeting and not having an agenda sometimes.
It's been around forever. Okay.
Yeah, it's social. It's a lovely, lovely thing that can lead to so many other great things. So again, to use it as a mechanism to, we hope, instill some more happiness is super cool. Other brands can be in the coffee business, but being in the happy business is.
Now I understand. Okay, I didn't understand this when we were first talking, because when I was first reading about you, Craig, I saw, just as I started out with, okay, I didn't use the word chapstick, but I was thinking chapstick. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, and then toothpaste. I'm like, okay. And then coffee. I'm like, does this guy have like a death wish? I mean, going after. Okay, but now I fully understand what you're doing and how you are making your product different, and how you are changing people's lives, and how your creativity and your passion can really propel this to the next level, and whatever that level is, and how you're able to do this with just 12 people, I still don't understand that, but I'm going to give full credit to NetSuite for that, because
NetSuite's great.
Because
it's magic.
Because when you look at 12 people and being able to build a multinational brand like this, and I don't know what I think the last number I heard was 48,000 locations or something like that.
That was for my last one, over 55 and more, but for Happy, we've only been in the market for about 18 months now.
Wow.
And we're in about 17,000 doors of retail and about 65,000 points of brand distribution, meaning each time the brand shows up.
Right.
We could have like 4 SKUs of something or 10 SKUs of something in the store. So it's quite a lot in a very small amount of time.
Now, could you have done this without NetSuite?
No. No way.
I don't think
There's just
so.
no way. There's too much. There's too many moving parts. So we wouldn't be able to do it and keep any level of consistency or sanity. That's the thing. Like, and I don't use the term sanity. I don't use that one lightly, because we are focused on mental health. So we would be in dire straits without a platform like this to manage all the moving parts we have, especially with a small team. There's nowhere to hide, and not that anyone's looking to hide. We're looking to create and grow at pace and scale. And to do that, it's people and the right tools, and again, tools that people know how to implement and get the most out of. And that's it. It's, you can do anything. Like, we live in amazing times. So I think the only thing that holds us back sometimes is you need, in a sense, the willing suspension of disbelief. You have to believe that you can do it. And if you can dream it and you can get other people to believe that it's doable too,
You can do it.
you're going to do it.
Yeah.
What can't you do? What can't you do? So, we're living in amazing times. The tools at our disposal now are simply incredible.
Well, Craig, thank you so much for sharing your story with me and for all of us. I personally, I want to go buy some Happy coffee now. Just saying.
Well, that's lovely. Thank you. It's available all over the place, and we have some really amazing new things coming out soon. So watch this space. But I really do appreciate that. But really, what I would say, as much as I want everyone to certainly know about Happy Coffee and buy some, and I can certainly tell you where to go get it, but call somebody that you haven't spoken to in a little bit. Call your parents if you're lucky enough to have them. Just tell somebody you're thinking about them. It's really important. Business is going to be going on. The world is going to keep rotating on its axis. Just take a second. I know it sounds preachy. I don't mean it to sound preachy. People are incredible. Just, that little act of kindness can make all the difference in the world to somebody, just so they're being thought of.
For sure.
And, just do that. Have a cup of coffee, bring somebody a cup of coffee, bring them some Happy coffee. That'd be great. If it's not Happy coffee, it'll still be great. They'll still love to see and hear from you.
And it actually helps. It helps you to be happy too. If you
100%.
can, if you can help, if you can reach out to somebody and make their day, or tell them that you're thinking of them and you love them, and whatever it is, even if it's just a short text with a heart emoji.
Yeah. Just a little something.
Little something.
Little something. Yeah, just do that. That would make, I think, everybody that much more happier. If you haven't tried the coffee, please do. And I think you're going to love it. We spent a lot of time making sure it was great. As quickly as we moved, we would have launched almost a year earlier, but Robert, and we have Q graders. You mentioned the word sommelier before. We have Q graders. A Q grader is the coffee equivalent, and there's only about maybe 1,600 in the world. If you're a wine sommelier, you have to be able to discern about 200 unique attributes from whatever wine you're being, tested against, which is incredible. If you're a Q grader, kind of, again, the coffee equivalent of a sommelier, you have to be able to discern over 400 unique attributes.
Wow. That's something.
And there's only a few. So we have 2 of them here, and one is, I think he's the 3rd American ever to be a Q grader, one of the first 300 in the world. Again, the coffee is really great. So I hope people love it. And I really appreciate you having me on the show. And if there are any entrepreneurs out there, that where I could be helpful, So many people have been so helpful for me and to me. So I always try to avail myself, as busy as we all are, but a little extra caffeine helps me be that much more available. So LinkedIn with me, text me, ping me, write me. If I can be helpful, I'm more than happy to do it. And
You're
it
awesome.
takes all of us working together. So
Thank you, Craig.
I really mean that. Yeah. And if you can edit this out, but I really give out my phone number. People are like, that's your number? I'm like, I give it out all the time. 917-392-1000. That's my cell phone. Yeah. You can find me on all the social platforms too, but people are amazing, and more kind people begets more kind people, more good ideas beget more good ideas, people helping people, all that stuff that sounds trite. It's not trite. It's really cool. And the people that call it trite are just being negative, and they're probably missing some of the magic. So share.
They're negative. We don't need those people. We don't want them.
No,
Okay.
no, more
All
good
right.
gets more good.
All right,
Anyway,
Craig.
thank you. I'm sounding preachy.
Appreciate it. No, you're not preachy at all. Thank you for being here. And folks, if you have not checked out NetSuite, they're actually offering a free business guide. It's called Demystifying AI. Kind of walks you through, how you can use NetSuite for your business, and really how AI is really taking your business operations and NetSuite to the next level to make those decisions. As Craig said, it's almost like having a psychic inside your business. And you can check it out right now and get the free guide over at netsuite.com/Kim. That's netsuite.com/Kim.